Ah, they looked so good though! Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 failed Kickstarter games.
No one knows what it really is. Some say it contains the secrets of the universe.
For this list, we'll be looking at what we consider to be the biggest fails regarding Kickstarter-backed video games. To be considered, these games must have been massive disappointments upon release, delayed countless times leaving backers furious, or just never came out at all.
And now we have the incredible opportunity to create an RPG tactics game for this generation, Unsung Story, Tale of the Guardians.
Number 10, Aura Tactics. Aura Tactics was created by Douglas Miller and promised to be a tactical RPG with class swapping and asynchronous multiplayer. After initially asking for $5,000, over 800 backers pledged nearly double that, totaling at just over $11,500. After an update in January of 2013 promised continued work, the team went radio silent and many backers were left with numerous questions. That is, until Doug left a comment explaining that his team had been laid off from their jobs and were too busy looking for new work. He stressed that the game was not cancelled, but even now, 4 years later, it's still MIA, leaving backers completely in the dark. Number 9, Rival Threads, Last Class Heroes. Last Class Heroes looked to be a promising game. It was advertised as an action RPG featuring stunning 2D visuals, and to their credit, the visuals did look pretty damn good. Over 680 backers raised nearly $25,000 for the project. But in April of 2014, an update was released declaring that the game was temporarily put on hold due to complications. And by temporarily put on hold, we think they mean dead, because there's been nothing since. When reached for comment by Kotaku, developer Leonardo Molar declared that the project became too ambitious for its own good, but that it was still coming. Well, backers are still waiting.
And thanks so much for watching. We can't wait for you to visit Vermilion Academy.
Number 8, Unwritten, That Which Happened. That Which Happened apparently does not include release. The development team here asked for an astounding $75,000 for the creation of this randomly generated world about a tribe traveling to meet its god. And surprisingly, this goal was met, with over 2,000 backers raising $78,000. However, one of its developers ran into significant family issues, and the project was put on hold as his time and energy were put into his family. While this is definitely understandable, backers are still disappointed. The project is supposedly still in slow development.
So why should you back Unwritten? You're gonna get quite a bit. You're gonna get a rich, exotic story.
Number 7, Moon Rift. Look, if you cancel a game, whatever, we'll get over it. But at least please tell us that you're canceling the game. This retro-looking randomly generated platform shooter was created by Sam Hutcher, and 500 backers helped raise just over $8,000 for it, which was $2,000 over its asking goal, which is honestly too bad because the last update occurred in October of 2013. In that time, an entirely new generation of consoles and games have been released. There have been no new updates regarding the development of the game, and the creator has all but disappeared off the face of the earth.
I want this game to really be what everybody wants. I want people to be excited for it. I want this to be the game that they want to play as well as the game that I want to play.
Number 6, Unsung Story.
We want to bring it out to other platforms. We want to make sure that the players can play the game when they want to play it, how they want to play it.
Unsung Story was set to be the spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics, with Yasumi Matsuno at the helm and a massive Kickstarter goal of $600,000. The game was originally announced alongside a digital card game, but when that was never mentioned again, fans began to grow suspicious. In September of 2015, after numerous delays, it was announced that the game would now be an online PvP game, going completely against the single-player experience originally promised to the backers. But ultimately, in August 2017, Playdeck announced that it had abandoned Unsung Story, and they took the money with them. Little Orbot is taking the reins. Unluckily, they technically need to start from scratch. Yeah, we don't think we're ever really going to see this one. Prove us wrong.
new, wonderful, enriching experience in this incredible genre of RPG tactics games.
Number 5, Shadow of the Eternals.
Please, mistress is for the regular staff. To you, my dear, I am Erzabet. You and I need to talk.
Shadow of the Eternals was poised to be a spiritual successor to the GameCube cult favorite, Eternal Darkness. Adding to the hype, it was being helmed by its original director, Dennis Dyack. The thing is, Dyack had been previously embroiled in a scandal involving the mismanagement of X-Men Destiny, which, long story short, ultimately led to his previous company, Silicon Knights, filing for bankruptcy. So backers were understandably hesitant.
Knowing that he knew it would ruin Silicon Knights, he also had a firm understanding, or at least an idea, that would also ruin my reputation. And to a certain extent, I think he was absolutely correct in that regard.
The first campaign raised, quote, only $284,000, which was actually falling well short of its $1.5 million target. After relaunching with a much more modest goal of $750,000, the campaign again fell on its face when it raised only half of that amount. Just goes to show that when it comes to Kickstarter, you'd better have a good reputation.
What did you see?
I saw a boy. And fire. A world falling apart.
Number 4, Godus.
What is Godus? Imagine a world full of people that you have nurtured.
Good old Peter Molyneux. Well, at least he's always good for some drama. Godus launched on Kickstarter in 2012, complete with promises of a, quote, living world and a significant multiplayer component. The project amassed a large amount of attention, and it went on to accumulate over $700,000. Unfortunately for the backers, Godus was an enormous disappointment upon release, as the gameplay was fundamentally different, and the focus seemed to have been put on its mobile release, which in and of itself was full of cliche mobile game tropes and microtransactions. In the end, it was a huge mess and full of broken promises.
I just wanted to deliver the glory of the old days in the new format of today's world. And with your help, we can do that.
Number 3, Clang.
Red goes back into Iron Gate. The attack star changes to remind Red that there are only 2 possible angles of attack he can use from that position.
Clang had an enormous amount of promise. Too bad it amounted to an enormous amount of regret. Science fiction writer Neil Stephenson took to Kickstarter to back a new project, a video game centered around realistic sword fighting. The project had over 9,000 backers behind it, who pledged a total of $526,000. However, after some initial disappointment regarding its delays, Stephenson announced its cancellation in September 2014, claiming insufficient funds and significant personal financial loss. Many people were understandably left upset and without refunds, and many pledged to never back another Kickstarter project again.
Got a lot of people out there who like to play games with sword fighting in them, who might be ready to step it up to something a little bit more interesting.
Number 2, Yogventures.
That money was for the development of the game! Simon! Yeah. I was hungry!
Yogventures was set to be an open-world game with the likenesses of popular YouTube channel Yogscast, Lewis and Simon, a gaming channel devoted to Minecraft, World of Warcraft, and Grand Theft Auto, among other things. Due to their very dedicated fanbase, a ridiculous $567,000 was raised for development of their video game, a video game which, surprise surprise, never came to fruition. The project was abruptly canceled in July of 2014, and the backers were given access to a different game called Tug instead of a refund. I'm sure they were happy with that.
Instead of just boxes, these boxes turn into like these nice rolling hills and beautiful like landscapes and stuff.
Number 1, the Stomping Land.
You are a hunter, and your primary source of food is dinosaur meat.
Of all the titles on this list, the Stomping Land had perhaps the most ambition and promise. The game was set to be a multiplayer-oriented survival game set in a world where humans and dinosaurs coexist. It was a relatively original concept, and many people seemed to be on board, as over 4,000 backers raised $114,000 in order to bring it to life. After being released through Steam Early Access in 2014, creator Alex Fundora was abducted by aliens or something because all communication with him abruptly ended. The game's 3D character artist was also forced to quit after his messages to Fundora went unanswered.
There are a ton of things that you can do on this island, and you do whatever you have to advance your gear and survive for as long as possible.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.